What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's your girl, Mika. What's going on? What's going on? It's our first live. How's everybody doing tonight? Just waiting for everybody to come in. How we doing? All right, you guys. So I wanted to switch over to doing a live stream, but before we get into everything that we're going to be doing, I just want to get a couple of things out the way. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because you know when we got the Red Cup, we're about to spill some truth. All right, so I just had to do that really quick, but I wanted to go ahead and start with this. You guys have been so supportive, and you guys have definitely supported me to the point where we are almost at 4,000 subscribers literally in less than 4 months, right? I've only literally been doing this less than 4 months. What's up? What's up, the Narrow Beats? So I literally only been doing this less than 4 months, and I'm telling you, I have been getting such a warm welcome. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody, even the ones that don't like me. Okay. Because there's tons of those. I get liberal hate, all types of hate. It's okay. I enjoy conversing. So I want to get right into it. So I wanted to talk about everything that's been going on. I initially labeled this, right? It was closing arguments, right? But I end up labeling it bizarre because all day I just been looking at everything and everything is just bizarre around this election. So I had to change it. So that's why it's called bizarre now. But the same topics, same interests that we're going to get into, but it's just bizarre. And I just want to know, I got a poll in the chat. I want to know if you guys think the same thing, because essentially it's just been weird. And a couple of things I'm gonna point out are essentially going to affect this election. So we'll get into all of that, but I just wanted to do that really quick and talk with you guys. We'll be going live weekly and we'll be doing a lot of things. I'm building out the studio here, so this is the first time I'm actually doing it live. I normally do like premieres and I'm sitting in the chat with you guys, but this time it's actually live. So I'll be looking at the chat, which is on this side. So if you see me looking this way, I'm trying to see what you guys are saying, get you guys in here. You guys with something that I saw yesterday, yesterday evening. I saw Joe Biden, and I want to say Joe Biden like sincerely, and I do mean sincerely effed up, okay? So yesterday, if you don't know, Joe Biden, he just happened to say a gaffe or whatever, but to me, I think, honestly and truly, I think Joe Biden does not like Kamala Harris, because every time she seems to be doing something, Joe Biden does something. You guys can let me know. But every time he seems to be doing something, Joe Biden jumps in and he messes it all up. So even though I'm not a Kamala supporter, I can literally say that Kamala Harris is being sabotaged by Joe Biden. Okay. And those are just my thoughts. Okay. But we're going to jump into that because I do feel like Joe Biden is definitely sabotaging Kamala Harris. Okay. So we're going to get into that right now. This is what Joe Biden had to say. Here we go.
And there's been a significant own goal from the current president of the United States. He's referred to Donald Trump's supporters as garbage.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
He was responding to a joke that was made at the Madison Square Garden rally by a comedian where he called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. But either way, that is an own goal from the president, potentially a damaging one just a week out from the election, and reminiscent of this comment by Hillary Clinton all those years back.
We are living in a volatile political environment. You know, to just be grossly generalistic, you could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it. And unfortunately, there are people like that.
We'll have more on the comment by Joe Biden, and we're going to have the interview that Donald Trump's just doing as we speak with.
All right. So you guys heard that. So here's the thing. Here's my thought process on it, right? I don't really know what to really make of it because one, he was literally in the house and Kamala Harris was literally in the backyard. So when I think about it, I'm just like, why isn't Joe Biden outside with Kamala? Why isn't he sitting on the side of the steps? Why isn't he doing just whatever, right? But at the end of the day, they don't want Joe Biden. So I think Joe Biden is getting revenge, right? I think Joe Biden is literally sitting there like he's just gonna ruin it for Kamala because they booted him out. Okay. Honestly, I think they booted him out. And so in my thought process, I really do think that Joe Biden is going to ruin it for Kamala Harris because she's already attached to everything he's doing, right? She's already attached to anything he has policy wise. She's already attached to anything he has, when it comes to really anything. And she doesn't want to separate herself. So when I think about it, I'm just like, why wouldn't he be outside with her? Why is he talking to CNN? Why is he doing that while she's having what's supposed to be her closing arguments? Right. So to me, you guys, it just really seems like Joe Biden is really just trying to, I would say, sabotage. So, of course, the White House had to come out and say something about it. So this is what the White House had to say. Here we go.
Can you just address the president's comments yesterday referring to Trump supporter as garbage? And I know he's tried to clarify that he was trying to talk about what the person said. But one, I guess I want to know, does he think less of Americans who support Trump than he does of those who do not? Yeah. And two, why is he using that kind of rhetoric? How is that presidential?
So a couple of things. So just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage, which is why he put out, this is why he wanted to make sure that we put out a statement that clarified what he meant and what he was trying to say. And so just want to make that very clear for folks who are watching. And I just want to read that out to folks. So he was regarding to the comedian, and I quote, "I referred to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump's supporter."
Now, you notice how she just said the hateful rhetoric spewed by Trump supporter. He did not say Trump supporter. He said Trump supporters. Okay. Biden knew what he was saying. I'm telling you, Biden is on a mission to sabotage Kamala. But I'm sorry, Kamala.
At his Madison Square Garden rally as garbage, which is the only word I can think of to describe it. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. The comments at the rally don't reflect who we are as a nation. And to your question, your other question that you asked, no, he does not view Trump supporters or anybody who supports Trump as garbage. That is not what he views. The president has said this for more than 3 years now. He has said multiple times that he is a president for all. It doesn't matter if you live in a red state. It doesn't matter if you live in a blue state. He has said this himself. I have said it on his behalf. He believes that he's a president for all. And it doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter if you voted for him or not. He's a president for all. But hateful rhetoric that he hears, and this is something that we've done many times from here, we will call that out. We will call that out. And that's what the president said.
I don't believe any of it. I believe that Joe Biden does not like Trump. He doesn't like Trump supporters. He doesn't like Kamala. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Kamala. He doesn't like Kamala. Okay. So therefore, to me, I just think he's, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. That's why they don't have him on the campaign, because why wouldn't you have a sitting president on the campaign? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, right? But that's what the White House had to say about it. So, as always, you know, in my videos, I always try to do liberals and conservatives, because some of you guys, y'all get up in arms and say, oh, you only use Fox. I use everybody. Okay. So a lot of the times I will go above and beyond to find CNN or find MS. Child, I can't stand MSNBC, but yeah, I will go above and beyond to find them. Okay. But at the end of the day, I listen to everybody. If you got a good point, you got a good point. But a lot of the times it's just Trump derangement syndrome over there at CNN or MSNBC. Like, it's deranged, right? So that's why a lot of the times I don't even use anything from there. But nevertheless, so right afterwards, I guess Marco Rubio got wind of it. So this is what happened with Marco Rubio. All right, here we go.
We begin with explosive developments from the US election campaign trail. US President Joe Biden has called Donald Trump supporters garbage during a Kamala Harris event. Our Sky News Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen filed this report.
President Joe Biden has referred to Donald Trump supporters as garbage in a campaign phone call with Latino voters on behalf of the Democrats. Now, this all stems from a joke made at a rally for Donald Trump at Madison Square Garden. A comedian speaking before Donald Trump came on made a joke describing Puerto Rico as an island of floating garbage. Now, this has sparked furious response from the Democrats in particular. It plays into an important narrative for them to appeal to Puerto Rican voters. Now, Puerto Ricans can't vote in the presidential election, but there are huge populations of Puerto Ricans in America, including in Pennsylvania, where we are now. But in this phone call, Joe Biden's taken this attack one step further and essentially demonized Donald Trump's supporters.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is just supporters.
This comment from Joe Biden harks back to one of the iconic moments from Hillary Clinton in the 2016 campaign, where she called Donald Trump's supporters the deplorables.
You know, to just be grossly generalistic, you could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right?
The Trump campaign was quick to respond to these comments. Senator Marco Rubio from Florida came on stage at Donald Trump's rally in Allentown, Pennsylvania, to condemn it.
Just moments ago, Joe Biden stated that our supporters are garbage. Are garbage. He's talking about the Border Patrol. He's talking about nurses. He's talking about teachers. He's talking about everyday Americans who love their country and want to dream big again and support you, Mr. President. And I hope their campaign is about to apologize for what Joe Biden just said. We are not garbage.
Remember Hillary, she said deplorable, and then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable. That didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know. You have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said. These people, it's terrible, terrible. Terrible to say a thing like that, but he really doesn't know. He really, honestly, he doesn't. And I'm convinced that he likes me more than he likes Kamala.
You know what? I wasn't going to break in, but here he is talking about, I'm convinced that Joe Biden likes me more than he likes Kamala. Now, y'all remember when he said to Kamala, we're going to give her a MAGA hat? Okay, y'all remember that, right? Because she's still in, she was still in policies. Okay, this is the same thing. Like, Trump is hilarious, but that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the fact that I just said it. Like, he's sabotaging that lady. Okay, he literally is doing it, but it's Kamala's own fault. So, you know, let him rock.
Joe Biden soon after tweeted, "Earlier today, I referred to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump supporters at his Madison Square Garden rally as garbage, which is the only word I can think of to describe it. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. The comments at that rally don't reflect who we are as a nation." Not only is this comment likely to be the focus of the Trump campaign's attack during this final week of campaigning, it's also indicative of how much trouble Kamala Harris has had managing Joe Biden as part of her election campaign. Axios has reported that Joe Biden's left multiple days open in his calendar to join Kamala Harris for campaigning, and she's essentially ghosted him, not wanting to connect herself to the legacy of the Biden years as his personal approval rating hits all-time lows. And also, it becomes an issue trying to manage these kind of gaffes at such an important moment. Annalise Nielsen, Sky News.
All right. So y'all saw that, right? So at the end of the day, they do, and so I see somebody in the chat. I can't see the name, but people are saying, somebody said that it's not Trump derangement syndrome. I'm telling you. Okay, there's a difference between having a criticism of someone, right? You can criticize Donald Trump. He has a lot to be criticized for. In the words of Joe Rogan, he says a lot of wild shit. All right, but at the end of the day, here it is. The thing is, they criticize Donald Trump over and over again, and they take things out of context when they know what he said, and they also make up stuff. So now you have all of those combined, right, on one person versus just, the regular pushing back, right? If they were just pushing back, I would say, okay, like with the fact checking, it's okay to fact check him. Go ahead and fact check him. But when you don't fact check the other candidate, and every time Donald Trump opens his mouth, you guys are like, well, it's okay if he doesn't get to say anything. Nobody wants to hear what he says. There's tons of people. Matter of fact, millions, half of the country. So you're going to keep fact checking him, but you're not going to fact check the other one. That's the problem. And that's why there's so much material for content creators to actually come out here and talk, right? Because you guys are not looking at it balanced. So at the end of the day, Kamala gets talked about more because she is the one receiving like 90% positive press, right? So if you're receiving 90% positive press, then who's criticizing you? So now everybody, including the independent media, podcasters, whatever, are going to criticize you because nobody else does it. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense for most of us to come on here and say anything about Donald Trump because y'all already said it. That is the whole fact of it all. Okay, but I digress on that. I want to read the super chats really quick before I go into what CNN had to say. Okay. See if I can pull it up here. All right. So 100 is what Pocket Full of the Narrow Beats sent. $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's my first live. I know. It's my first one. All right. And then the Grind said, you already know. All right. Thank you. And check out his channel too. He has a lot of good stuff on jujitsu and interviews and things like that. So you guys check out his channel. I always love supporting other content creators as well. All right. And then you have, oh my goodness, you have Anton Daniels, the bag chasers. He came in here with, child, I'm gonna pay my light bill. Thank you, Anton. If you guys don't know, Anton is a big content creator as well. You probably already know him, so I don't even know why I'm telling you, but I'm telling people that don't watch his content, which I don't know who that is. He is a content creator and he makes phenomenal content. I have been podcasting with him for at least now, I would say about 9 months now, maybe like 9 months, but I've known him for over a year. So he's phenomenal. He's a good content creator. Just check out his stuff. You guys will love it, love it, love it, love it. Because he gets in on everything. So thank you, Anton. Appreciate it. Oh Lord, jeez. All right, you guys. All right, so back to Trump derangement syndrome. Now, with all that being said, CNN had to weigh in on it, and I actually like. I have to admit this. I actually like watching CNN's little debate with Abby, right? Even though I think they're biased as hell, and I think they never let the Republicans speak at all, but I will say this. I do like the back and forth. I love discourse. If you guys have seen my podcast with my friend Jules, she is a blue to the blood liberal, right? But I like discourse. I like to hear, dissenting voices. I like to hear something else. So that is why I like watching this, right? Even though 10% of it I don't like because of the, talking over Scott Jennings or any other Republican or conservative that comes on, or independent, because they do it to the independents too, right? But I do like watching it. So that's something for you liberals to chew on. Okay. But here we go. We're going to get into CNN's take on everything that happened. Okay. And you guys let me know what you think. Here we go. Here we go.
Agree more. I mean, y'all are trying to make this. Listen,
You don't get to have it both ways.
No,
you can't say it's a joke, and so but it's serious, and let's do round the clock media coverage when it's a comedian. But when the president of the United States says it, no, we'll give him a free pass.
You know what's crazy? I want you to take the president of the United States to task. You do that, and I want you to do that as well. Take him to task and say that his comments were inappropriate. Actually, I want you to get a warm, cozy blanket and say it reminds you of 2016 when Hillary Clinton called us deplorables, right? And then what I'm going to tell you is the fact that Kamala Harris got on stage tonight in front of 100,000 people and talked about the America that she wanted. I'm going to tell you about the fact that Kamala Harris said that she's going out on the campaign trail with people like Liz Cheney, that she has Bush's campaigning for.
Now, I have a problem with that. Now, that's the thing I have a problem with. I don't know if you guys know who Liz Cheney is, but Liz Cheney is a Republican, and her dad is Dick Cheney. Okay. Now, Dick Cheney is a former vice president. Might as well be president. Okay. He might as well have been president, because George Bush did absolutely nothing. Dick Cheney did everything. And that man is a warmonger. Okay. Also, he used, 9/11 for Halliburton contracts. We went into Iraq when we didn't need to. So it's a whole lot of nonsense, right? That goes on with the Cheneys, right? And how they've come up in politics. But the thing about it is Kamala is touting the fact that Cheneys are endorsing her. The Bushes are endorsing her. So not only is CNN going with this, other liberal media outlets are going with this. And I'm just like, you guys don't like the Bushes. You never liked the Bushes. Bush was like the devil, when he was in office. So I'm trying to figure out why it is that now that he supports somebody you guys like, it's all of a sudden okay. Like, to me, this is crazy, because if it was anybody else, you guys would be saying the Cheneys are warmongers, things like that. Like, this is not reaching across the aisle. This is telling you that there is a concerted effort, right, to keep the status quo. And that's on the Republican and the Democratic side, okay? There are just warmongers. There are neocons on both sides, and Hillary Clinton was one of them, okay? So when I tell you guys that I am an independent, I literally am an independent, because there are Republicans that I do not like, okay? And I would never vote for, and Cheney is one. But I definitely don't vote Democrat. All right. I can't do it in Texas. Can't do it. But yeah, I didn't like that this guy here said that. That just rubbed me the wrong way.
That she's going to put a Republican in her cabinet. That there is nobody on God's green earth that can look you directly in the face with any level of intellectual honesty and tell you that the America that Kamala Harris wants versus the America that Donald Trump wants is the exact same. And so, yes, listen, you want to talk about foot and mouth disease? That's Joe Biden. Do we want him on a campaign trail? You know, that the sources that we have, we actually do want him on a campaign trail, contrary to popular belief, because he still does well.
I will say, though,
with certain demographics.
he was in his house, the White House. He was in his house doing this. And the reporting is that there are places that he can be useful, but he's not everywhere like you might expect a sitting president to be for his vice president.
I don't know that I would expect this president to be everywhere in this moment. I mean, look, a critical element, any coach will tell you, any CEO will tell you, a critical element of running a team and winning is assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your team members and making sure you allocate them in the right way. Joe Biden.
Now they want to assess the weaknesses. See, this is why, now y'all know why I really don't do liberals, right? Because how many months were they telling us that Joe Biden was fine? We watched that man fall up the steps, okay? He fell up the steps. If you fall up the steps, I'm concerned for you. Like, I'm literally concerned for you, all right? And granted, I took care of my grandmother, all right? I took care of my grandmother till she died. She had dementia. So I know what it's like to take care of an ailing parent, all right? You know, the sandwich generation they keep talking about. Yeah, those people. For some reason, they can now say what's old, what's what's not a functioning person. They can now say what a problem is, but they couldn't say it the whole time Joe Biden was in. That's why I tell you, all this stuff is disingenuous, okay? It's very disingenuous. And the fact that CNN acts like we don't see it, like we don't, child, is a mess. But again, I like the back and forth, but Scott right here, my man, he just sits quietly because he tears them up every time.
Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker. And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me that there's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there. He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters.
Child, now he's trying to say Joe Biden had a stutter. So since he had a stutter growing up, okay, I have a lisp. I'm country. And are you trying to, like, if you hear me say an S, you heard me say an S. It just is what it is. So I'm just like, y'all are using, he literally said supporters. And they're trying to change this because they don't want to take the accountability. But let this had been, what I'm talking about, let this have been, it's already happened. Okay? It's literally already happened. And so you gotta think, it's already happened that somebody that wasn't Donald Trump said, you know, garbage, referring not to the people, referring to the actual place. Because if you don't know, Puerto Rico is actually having an issue with their trash. So it's just a lot of trash everywhere. And I'm gonna dig into it because I'm gonna actually do a video on it, but I'm gonna dig into it. But I watched a couple of things on it and they're really having a hard time. Okay. And so the thing about it is, okay, it's a joke that didn't land, right? But you attached it to Donald Trump. Okay. Sunny hosting on The View went ape. Okay. Because of that, you know, and she's like Donald Trump the whole time. And I'm like, Sunny, he didn't say it. But a sitting president says this, and you guys want to say that he was stuttering. Okay. All right.
Not simply the supporters themselves. But Joe Biden has been on the campaign trail. He's best getting ice cream in Maryland like he was today.
Ice cream in Maryland.
Showing moments of empathy in Arizona like he was last week. He's best with union folks as he was in Pittsburgh last week as well. You use people where they are best. You put Obama in a big arena, you put Michelle in a big arena, and you put Joe Biden in front of a bunch of union people doing retail politics.
You could make the argument that they would be fine if Joe Biden wasn't anywhere near a microphone between now and next Tuesday.
Yeah, let me just accept the most charitable framing of this, which you just gave. Why is he sitting in front of a laptop at the exact same moment Kamala Harris is out on his backyard trying to give the closing argument to her campaign? What in the world is he doing? Now, I don't accept your framing of it personally, because I actually do believe he, Harris, the Democratic Party, and most of their campaign do believe that half the country is garbage. They've also said people who go to Trump rallies are Nazis. And so it's pretty apparent the disdain with which they hold half of the country in.
It's not true. They've already litigated it.
Hold on. How is that not true? They literally been saying that they're Nazis all week.
Kamala's speech tonight.
But as a tactical matter today,
no, but you don't just get to say
why in the world
we do get to say it
giving remarks at the same
So
time?
I'll give you that. We're going to talk about other.
I thought he was going to be here for a couple of segments. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Fair enough. If you want to talk about who's running with various candidates and what they're saying, where's Mike Pence? Where's Nikki Haley? Where's every single Republican living vice president and president? They're not speaking for Donald
except
Trump.
for Sarah Palin.
You got me there.
Haley's for Trump.
Haley is not on the trail.
I'll get to the Nikki
Haley's not on the trail. They haven't spoken since June, so she might be.
She spoke at our convention.
I think
she has not been there. She has not been on the trail. They haven't spoken since June.
She spoke at our convention.
I think Kamala Harris is running a young and modern and fresh campaign. It is very rare to be the vice president of a president running while he is still president. That does not happen.
Why do they keep trying to make Kamala seem young? I guess she's younger than Joe Biden and younger than Trump, but she's not young. Why is this a thing? She's not young, right? Like, y'all have whole conversations about women in their 30s being past the wall, okay? And Kamala Harris is a younger generation. I don't understand this, right? Like, the youngest president was, I believe, Barack Obama. It was Bill Clinton at the time, but she's like a young baby boomer, old Gen Xer. So how is that a younger generation? She was born in what, the 60s? Like, I mean, my mama was born in the 70s. So I'm trying to figure this out, but okay.
Happen a lot. So she has to walk a very fine line. And I think the thing is that she has to separate herself from the Biden-Harris campaign to show us what the Harris-Walz campaign would look like. So I think it makes sense.
It's more of the same. She couldn't even answer a simple question of what would you do differently. She stood there tonight in the ellipse and said, I will be honest with you. I will never lie and I will say difficult things, but I can't tell you one mistake that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris made. It's because she believes all of the horrible policies that they have done.
Have you ever had a boss? Did you ever work for anyone?
Yes, and I still do.
Okay. So hypothetically,
I'm about to say I'm married, so I don't.
There we go.
Well, Kari and I agree.
So anyway, you have a boss. You're working with your boss. You're at a dinner.
That lady is the definition of a feminist, okay? But she's nasty. This is the only person on here that kind of, irritates me, because she cuts everybody off, Democrat or Republican. She cuts everybody off if she doesn't like what you said. Like, she was on here one week and she was talking about Barack Obama. It was just crazy. Like, it was so annoying. And she was just saying, why are we talking about men? Why are we talking about men? And I was just like, man, we're talking about Barack Obama. He's a man. Like, people like this, they disrupt the conversation. Whether I agree with people or not, like, I don't like people who just want to be agitators for no reason. Just annoying.
You might be going for another job. You're not going to insult your boss while you're at the table, right? She is still the vice president of the president of the United States. So if you ask me, hey, what has your boss done wrong at this company? You're not going to say, well, he's done this wrong and this wrong and this wrong. You're going to say, I think, well, I'm here at this company, I'm doing my job. That's her job as the vice president.
That is why
as the presidential candidate,
isn't there an
she's going to
argument
speak
to be made, though, that even from a strategic perspective, there's no harm necessarily in her saying, actually, I would do something differently.
There's no harm at all. You're exactly right.
The American people
100%.
might actually want to hear her say that.
No, but that, I mean,
But don't you think?
but that's also kind of blind to say, because what you're discounting is the fact that this individual actually got 84 million votes. What you're actually discounting is the fact that in places like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan, there are demographics, particularly in the blue wall states, where he does extremely well.
But do you think that even
actually said 48, 49%.
Even
39.
Oh, Bakari.
Gallup has
Oh,
it.
Lord have mercy.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's nuclear politics
Do you
averages
think that
is
even the
39.
people who voted for
That's
Joe
the average you're
Biden
talking about
believe that he did everything right?
No, I don't think
then
Barack
that's my-
Obama did it.
what standard are we living by?
So that's the argument. The argument is that he didn't do everything right. And she can't, nothing comes to mind, so yeah. At the end of the day, these people cannot be honest with themselves. Joe Biden called a group of American citizens garbage. Okay. That's what he did. Either stand on it or apologize for it. But that's what he did. I mean, Hillary Clinton, she stood on it. And she even went to the dinner and said, hey, y'all are adorable. They're not like the deplorables. Look, I don't like Hillary Clinton, but I can respect her. She stood on it. She was just like, okay, whatever. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the man effed up, okay? Joe Biden effed up badly. And since he effed up, he gonna stay in the basement. Like they're gonna keep him in the basement. Like literally, like they're gonna keep that man in the basement until she either wins or loses. And then yeah. All right. So I just want to acknowledge the super chat before we move on. This is Iris. I think that's how you say it. You say Iris. All right. Congrats on your first live. Didn't realize it. I'm glad to be here for it. Yeah, because normally what I do is premieres, and they are similar to lives, and I'm usually in the chats and I watch everything, but to live stream, like maybe with one-on-one sometimes, but not my podcast. So yes, this is my first live, and in first live fashion, I had technical issues. And I couldn't figure out what was happening, but I figured it out and we got through it. So, it's a learning curve. It's definitely a learning curve, but I'm so happy to have you guys as supporters, and I'm happy to have you guys, watching my videos and everything. So thank you. All right. So we're going to move on to the next subject. The next subject is election fraud. All right. So everyone's been talking about, election integrity and, voter ID suppression. And the crazy thing is, the voter ID suppression talk is crazy because you have to have ID for everything else. So I never understood why that was a voter suppression. And then I watched the video one time, and the gentleman on there went to a liberal college, and the people, these are liberals now, were saying, oh my God, yes, it's voter suppression because, Black people may not have access to the internet, may not have access to IDs. Oh Lord. So, it really really got to me, because I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. You have to have IDs. Even if you're on welfare, you get an ID. They give you a welfare ID, like it's like a government ID. So everybody has an ID. So I never understood why you can't have a voter ID. Nevertheless, I've been doing videos on voter registration rolls, and Virginia, if you don't know, I live in the DMV area. So, and I'm from DC. So Virginia has been having, this big issue with, voter ID fraud and all this other stuff. So Virginia decided they were going to clear their rolls. Virginia cleared their rolls and found that there were like 2,500, I'm sorry, not 2,500, maybe like 1,600 people on there that were non-citizens, and they took them off. Okay, they took them off, and they got sued by the DOJ. So, I did a video on that. And once they got sued by the DOJ, they took it, even further. And now the verdict is that they can take those people off. Virginia wanted to take those people off, and the DOJ told them that they couldn't because it was too close to the election. So I'm going to let CNN tell you about what's going on now and the reason why they really don't want that. You got to read between the lines, okay? But here we go.
Suspected non-citizen voter registration. So this is a big decision from the Supreme Court, just came in moments ago. I want to go straight to CNN's Paula Reed. Paula, what can you tell us?
Jim, this is incredibly significant because this is one of the court's first significant decisions ahead of next week's election. Here, they are allowing the state of Virginia to continue with a program that will purge suspected non-citizens from its voter registration rolls. Now, this is a bit of a surprise because the trial court and the appellate court sided with the Biden administration that objected to this purge, saying that the state cannot, under federal law, remove large groups of people from the voter rolls within 90 days of an election. Though there is nothing stopping them from investigating individual voters and removing them from the voter rolls. Now, former President Trump has seized on this issue in Virginia, as have other Republicans, as a way that they should be able to remove suspected non-citizens, calling it sort of a common sense move. And here, a court divided across partisan lines, siding with Republicans. Now, Governor Youngkin, who is implementing or attempting to implement this program, he has issued a statement saying, quote, "This is a victory for common sense and election fairness."
And Paula, the former president is already stoking fears of voter fraud in Pennsylvania. But what are officials actually saying? Because we hear Trump out on the campaign trail said that there's already voter fraud happening in Pennsylvania. But what can you tell us?
That's exactly right. Well, here are the facts, Jim. Last week in Lancaster County, law enforcement officials announced they had identified what they described as incidents of suspected voter registration fraud. And this was according to a bipartisan board of elections and the county's district attorney. They said that this likely stemmed from large-scale canvassing operations that submitted registration applications with duplicate handwriting and inaccurate or unverifiable addresses. The officials said likely about 2,500 voter registration forms had been sort of put aside and segregated to be reviewed and investigated. But they have not said how many examples of actual fraud that they have found. They also said that they suspected 2 other counties could have received potentially fraudulent applications. But here, the former president getting out ahead of the facts, suggesting that there has indeed been fraud. Of course, Pennsylvania is one of the most sought after prizes in the Electoral College, which is why we've seen the Trump team, the RNC.
Here's the thing that I don't like. Again, you literally just said the same thing that Trump said, but they're like, oh, well, they're saying that, it was this, but, they haven't, specifically said that it was going to be fraud. It's the same thing. They're saying the same thing. Trump is just Trump, and he's just going to say it in layman's terms. He's just going to be like, it's fraud. But she's saying the same thing Trump is saying. The statements came out, and the counties even talked about it. So when it comes to Trump, they want to fact check so hard that they end up shooting themselves in the foot because they sound stupid because it ends up being what they said. But he said it was this, but it's really this. And it's so much nitpicking. And it's just like, is something happening or not? Right? If it's not 0%, it's fraud. And 2,500, all right? Usually what happens when you have bank fraud, let's go with bank fraud, right? Usually when you have bank fraud, what happens? People do what? They go and they take a little bit out at a time, right? You see $5 and maybe $10. Next thing you know, your whole check gone. What's the difference? Okay, so it's 2,500 today. How many tomorrow? That's what bugs me, like about this whole thing, because it's always well, maybe, but it's not, because it's Trump. That's all. And that's why I keep telling you guys it's Trump derangement syndrome. But go ahead, lady.
See, filing many legal challenges already in that state, laying the groundwork to challenge a potential outcome that doesn't go their way in a court of law. But here you see him also sowing seeds of doubt in the court of public opinion. Now, Governor John Shapiro spoke to CNN about these efforts last night. Let's take a listen to what he said.
I understand that Donald Trump wants to again, use the same playbook where he tries to, create chaos and stoke division and fear about our system. But again, we will have a free and fair, safe and secure election in Pennsylvania, and the will of the people will be respected and protected.
Okay, so Daniel said, you mean fraud like Donald calling Georgia state officials trying to get them to find some votes and rig in his favor? How? Like Georgia literally found a couple of, like, I think it was like 20 or so, right? That were fraudulent. But if you have voters on your roll that aren't supposed to be voting, how did they get there? Right? I did a story on Oregon. Oregon had 3,000. I did a story on Arizona. I did a story on Texas. Texas had millions. Go figure. But how is it in his favor? Georgia is a state more than likely he normally won't win. But I don't know if you guys have been looking. The Republicans have been up in early voting. That's not Donald Trump's fault. Literally every voting group is literally going for Donald Trump. Okay? CNN just did a poll, and the poll was, what did they say? The poll was Kamala Harris had 71% of the black vote. Since when Democrats get 71%? Joe Biden had maybe like almost 90, and we know Barack Obama. He had like 98. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, how does this go in his favor? Like, I love you guys for chatting and everything, but come on, y'all, for real. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for that. All right, but there is a lot of, if it's not fraud, I'll just say it's not fraud. But again, they found a lot of voter registrations that should not have been there, and they're saying it here. Okay.
And Jim, we will continue to cover that investigation and bring our viewers any developments if this investigation does yield evidence of actual fraud.
CNN Chief Supreme Court Analyst Joan Voskipik joins me now. Joan, this is remarkable on a couple of levels. One, just the substance of the case, but the Supreme Court to hand down this kind of a decision 6 days before the election, I have to think that is going to raise some eyebrows.
Yeah, well, the Supreme Court is in it now, Jim, and they're looking as divided as ever because the three dissenters from today's ruling are the three liberals. You know that this court is controlled by a conservative supermajority.
Now, here's the thing, right? The court at one point in time was controlled in the early 2000s by the liberals, right? Back when Sotomayor was on there and some other people. So why is it only when Donald Trump is on that we're talking about? Oh, why is it period when conservatives are doing something? Why? Right? When the liberals have control over everything, it's fine. Nobody said anything when Barack Obama from 2009 to 2011 had the White House. He had the courts, because he had just put, Sotomayor in. So he had the courts, he had the White House, he had the Senate, okay, and he had the House. So this was the first time since, I think, the early 1900s that had happened. And they didn't do a damn thing. So, come on. Y'all are picking and choosing when you want to be outraged. But you say it's only Republicans that do that. Anywho, so this is what CNN had to say about it. And me personally, I just think that if it's voter fraud, if you have a suspect, if you suspect some of it, take it out, right? Because you want to stop like a lot of that from happening. But you can't if you're going to ignore it. And the only reason they would ignore it in Virginia is because Virginia and Pennsylvania both have high Hispanic populations, okay? And I am very aware of Virginia's Hispanic population, all right? I live right here. And Virginia's Hispanic population is made up of course, legals and a lot of illegals, okay? So it's not missed upon me that illegals would somehow end up on the voter rolls. But, it's a conspiracy. So that was that. So I want to move into what, well, since he brought it up, I want to move into what Pennsylvania actually said. Here we go.
That press conference just wrapped up. It involved the Lancaster County District Attorney and detectives investigating this. Basically, they tell us it involved about 2,500 voter registration applications that had been dropped off here at the administration building on 2 occasions last week, basically at the deadline to drop them off at the end of the day. And they noticed some irregularities with these voter registration applications. The DA says it stems from a canvassing operation last summer that's set up at parking lots as well as shopping centers around the county.
The confirmed indicators of fraud that detectives came across were inaccuracies with the addresses listed on the applications, fake and false personal identification information, as well as false names. Also, applications that contain names that did not match the provided Social Security information.
I bet.
The district attorney says they haven't gone through all 2,500 of those suspected applications, but she says 60% were found by detectives to be fraudulent, others verified to be all right, others they still have yet to go through. They also say they've contacted 2 other counties about this same canvassing operation in question, and that they're doing investigations as well. They would not identify the operation or whether it was connected to one party or another.
Breaking news now.
All right. So you have that there, right? So that's Pennsylvania itself, right? That's their local news. And that's why I wanted to play it, because I wanted to see what the local news had to say. I didn't want to play just, CNN and play, what pundits had to say. I wanted to really break down what the local news had to say. And as you saw, it is a fact, right? So to say that, Donald Trump is fabricating it, Donald Trump is lying about it, it makes no sense, right? You can say that he doesn't say stuff right. You can say a lot of things about Donald Trump at this point, but he was telling the truth on it, okay? And at the end of the day, we do have an issue in this country with, elections. Let's just say that, because you had the election in 2000 that was heavily contested. All right. You had, and let's talk about that, because you had Al Gore for the longest saying that he actually won. Nobody said anything. He said that he actually won for a long time. Okay. I was a child, and I can tell you, I remember him saying, "Oh yeah, I won. He even started doing the TED Talks, and he was still talking about that. I'm like, my man, it's like 30 years later, and he's still talking about it. But whatever. So so Donald Trump is in Pennsylvania. All right. Now, while he's in Pennsylvania, he decides to go ahead to a place called Allentown, which is a large Latino stronghold. And Allentown, okay, is not only largely Latino, it is Puerto Rican. And now we know all the stuff that happened with Donald Trump and the Puerto Rican comment, okay, the Puerto Rican garbage comment. I was about to say the Puerto Rican princess. The Puerto Rican garbage comment from the comedian, okay? We know what happened with that. But surprisingly, he gets a good endorsement. So I wanted you guys to see that. Here we go.
Wonderful woman, highly respected Puerto Rico Senator Zoraida Buxo, who's terrific. Come up here for a second. She's fantastic. Great woman, so respected in Puerto Rico and beyond. Please. Nice to see you.
Now, Pennsylvania, y'all fool for that one. You hear them in the back, Puerto Rico. Hey, Puerto Rico. Y'all a fool for that one.
It's an honor to share the stage with you, Mr. President. And we have some unfinished business to do with respect to Puerto Rico. And if there's a leader that can get us to a final resolution, that is you. That is you. So the people of Puerto Rico trust you and we have high hopes. As many Americans, we need this man back in the White House. We need this man to be our commander-in-chief. He will make us feel safe and he will protect us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so that is the Puerto Rican senator, okay? So Donald Trump literally got all of these people, you know, on his team, on his side. And the crazy part about all of this is, you know, you can say, exactly, you can say Donald Trump says abrasive things, right? And maybe he says things that might be kitchen table talk, right? Maybe that you guys wouldn't say in public. But at the end of the day, most of the times, he's spot on about stuff. And I think because he's a politician, right? Well, now that he's, you know, been president, because he's a politician now, he's expected to have a certain decorum. But I almost don't like telling politicians that they have to be a certain way because I I kind of feel like Trump has made it to where you got to tell the truth or you got to seem authentic and you can't really be out there just saying anything. And I think that's the problem with Kamala. Okay? That's the problem because she's a part of that old way of being a politician, right? She's a part of that I'm going to talk like this, right? I'm not going to go off my talking points. I'm only going to say things I know people will like. You know, she holds her thumb like this. You know how they used to do back in the day when they talk that, right? And so when you do that, it's just like you have Donald Trump who comes and he's just like, you be in jail, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's like abrasive. And so I can understand it. But the thing about it is they take everything out of context. Everything is blown up, right? Just anything, any comment that he makes, they will make something out of it. And that's what kills me. So I think that's the problem. That's really the problem to me. At the end of the day, Donald Trump is, I think Donald Trump is a better, he's a better politician in the sense of he doesn't have a filter. And when you don't have a filter, you get more out of people, right? Like I said, it can be abrasive, but I really do think you get more out of people when they don't have a filter, when they're allowed to just say what they need to say, when you don't censor them. So that's my thoughts on that. But I wanted to show you that because that was a real big endorsement, especially right after, you know, such problems. All right. So I want to move in to Kamala. Okay. So Kamala's pitch she made last night. She made a pitch with her speech. She talked about, you know, bringing everybody together, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, people being, I I don't know, word salad together, more people understanding each other, joy, happy joy, all that good stuff that she normally talks about. But the thing about it is, there is a group of people in every demographic, every faction that you can think about that does not like Kamala. Okay. And one of the main ones right now are the Muslims. And I think that's going to hinder her in Michigan because she needs Michigan to win. Okay. And I really do think that's going to hinder her. So I wanted you guys to see what's happening in Michigan. Now, there was a gentleman, okay, that got kicked out of a Harris rally. So he was on Cuomo. I wanted you guys to go ahead and check this out. Here we go.
Democratic congressional candidate from Michigan, okay? His name is Dr. Ahmed Ghanem. He says he shows up at a campaign event and they throw him out. He doesn't know why. He says he still hasn't been given an explanation. The campaign said, oh, you're welcome to come to another one. It was a mistake, but they don't say why the mistake was made. Here's proof that it happened.
I'm going to leave, but I want to know why you're kicking me out from the...
Well, I'm not kicking you out. The venue's kicked you out.
Who's the venue? The venue? How the venue know about me?
I have no idea. They've asked you to leave. So I was going to give you the option to go.
This is no longer a conversation, so can we please escort the vote, please?
I'm not hitting you. It's my hand that's hitting you. This story could not come at a worse time for Harris because Michigan is very tight. And the Arab community, the Muslim community here, has influence on the vote. They're like 40% in some of the precincts that they need. So it's very tight. Trump is actually ahead of Harris in this state by 2 points with Arab American voters nationally. So let's discuss, okay? Michigan has the highest concentration of Muslim voters in a swing state, okay? And a lot of them have beef with supporting Israel, which does make it a little odd why they would vote for Trump, because he is absolutely as in favor of helping Israel, if not more, than the Biden-Harris administration.
The reason why they will be willing to vote for Trump is not because Trump supports Israel, is because Trump wants to end the war. Biden and Harris are not interested in this war. So when you look at it, yes, Trump would be more favorable. They really like Jill Stein. Like Jill, they're coming for Jill's neck. Okay, like they're online going for Jill's neck. Jill Stein is taking majority of that population's vote. Okay, but they are willing to vote for Trump as well. And the reason why they're willing to vote for Trump because he wants to end the war. Trump is the only president. Okay, y'all like to spew all these facts. Trump is the only president that didn't go into a war. Okay, the only one. So, I mean, how is that not a good thing? And the Muslim community knows it. Every other community, it seems like, understands certain things that benefit them. And if it doesn't benefit them, they're not voting. Okay. And unfortunately, you know, the only minority that is taking a while to see this is the African-American vote or the Black vote. But this gentleman was kicked out. So let's hear what he had to say.
So Dr. Ghanem joins us now. Doc, thank you for joining us. What have you been able to figure out about what you did or what they did?
Well, thank you for having me. So far, the campaign did not reveal why they removed me. I kept asking them. They issued a statement, but it's a vague statement, does not really mention why they removed me. When they reached out to call me, I said, thank you for the call, but I want to know why was I removed? Have I done anything wrong? Why did you remove me? And they said, we don't know, we'll investigate. So I told them, you have two options. Either option A, you did not investigate at all, which means that you don't take this seriously, or option B, you investigated, but you are hiding something. I don't see any third option for you. So I'm still waiting for the campaign to tell me if they investigated or not, and if they did, what have they found?
So, Doc, help me understand this fear among Democrats that they may lose Arab voters because of the Democratic leaders and membership supporting Israel's right to defend itself. How are they going to vote for Trump if that's their basis of resistance?
Yeah, definitely. Voting for Trump happens on multiple levels. So a segment of the community say we're going to vote for Trump because we want to punish the Democratic administration. The genocide happened under Biden-Harris administration, and we're going to show them that we can unseat them. So this is the group of voters in the Arab and Muslim community. Another group said, "Hey, look at what happened. We went out of our way and we pushed and we donated and we volunteered for Biden. And what happened after that? During Trump, we did not have any war. For them, we had less taxes. We had better grocery prices. So everything, we had peace. We did not have wars. So why not give Trump a chance?" So it's very weird and multiple factors. That's every group, they have a different factor why they are voting for Trump.
Trump does not believe, as far as I know, and I haven't heard Republican leadership say that there's any genocide going on other than what the point of ambition was on October 7th.
Now, Chris, that's journalistic malpractice right there. He said Trump does not believe. You cannot say what somebody believes if he has not said it. You literally said Trump does not believe, and I haven't heard him say. So then how do you know what he believes? Like they got to get a little, Trump stabbing in there. I get it. But you guys, y'all are being disingenuous, okay? I think Trump supports Israel, okay? But it's not about him supporting Israel. It's about the fact that he wants to end the war. Everybody that lives in America knows America supports Israel, child. Like, we already know this. So with that being said, are they going to support him? Are they going to support Israel continue to do what they do? And that's what the Arab voters and Muslim voters, because they're not the same thing. That's what they're looking at. Okay, they're looking at those factors. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with here. But Chris Cuomo can't seem to understand that, and he doesn't seem to understand that people, and my man just said it, that people of all nationalities, all religions, all different types of groups are voting for Trump. And it's a reason. They're tired. Like, they're literally tired. So, I mean, that's a little harsh. But at the end of the day, I think Harris would be all right at the end of the day, but she's not going to get the big percentage that she thought she was going to get with the Muslim voters. But I don't think she's going to win Michigan, and I don't necessarily think it's going to be because of the Muslims. Honestly, I think it's going to be a November surprise with Black folks. Like, I really do think Black people are lying about who they're voting for. I really do think so. Like, I really do think so. But anywho, I wanted to end with this because I wanted to make sure I had a hard stop at 7:30. I want to end with this. Trump is not, and I repeat, Trump is not the savior of America. Trump is not a perfect man, okay, or a perfect candidate. But I think what Trump does represent is freedom to a lot of people, right? They're allowed to say what they want to say. They feel heard. They're allowed to, have discourse like normal human beings with the people that they elect. Trump goes out and he actually makes executive orders, based on the people, right? Not BlackRock, not Vanguard, not Wall Street. And let's be clear, because a lot of you guys don't look these things up. Trump did a lot of executive orders, especially during 2020 when he left the House. And for the life of me, I don't know why some of you don't go look up the fact that Trump did the lower the prescription drugs. That was Donald Trump. He did it in August. He did it in June. He like, you guys got to look stuff up, okay? You can literally look these executive orders up. And maybe I should do a live on that, just executive orders from everybody. But they got revoked, okay, in 2021. They got revoked, and guess who put them back with their name on it? Just like she's talking about those, Donald Trump put his name on a check. And you guys thought the check was from Donald Trump. You guys thought Kamala came up with lowering prescription drugs for seniors. Y'all really thought Kamala did that. Okay. Y'all got to look this stuff up. But we'll get there. This is my first live, so I got to make sure I can get all of this stuff set up. I'm getting some monitors in. I'm getting this and that and the third. But, you know, I'm growing, I'm learning, and I thank you guys for being patient with me while I learn this stuff. But, you know, I appreciate being able to be a voice outside of, you know, the echo chambers, because everybody talks the same. So, you know, I just want to have a difference of opinion, but I support everybody who goes and vote. I don't really care who you're voting for. Yes, I do. I do care. You know, I hope y'all don't, but as long as you vote. But here's the thing. I just want you guys to be informed about a lot of this stuff, because the media does have Trump derangement syndrome. Okay. And if you're not careful, all right, you're going to miss things that could benefit you. Vote for who you want to vote for, but make sure it's off of policies, not feelings. Okay. Because nice don't pay your taxes. Nice don't keep you from getting kicked out your home. Nice don't keep you warm at night. And those energy prices are going up. Okay. They're going up. So you guys vote responsibly, just like y'all kind of do when y'all drink. Do it responsibly. All right, you guys. I want to thank you all. And again, get down in the comments. Let me know how I did for my first live. Some of y'all will rip me apart. It's okay. And some of y'all will give me grace. But at the end of the day, I appreciate everything. I appreciate all you guys. And also, I'm going to be still doing, you know, the videos, but I wanted to interact with you guys more. So I'm going to be doing more lives, and, you know, the videos I'll still be doing. So this is the way to interact more. But at the end of the day, you guys, I appreciate you, and I had a fun time. So like, comment, and subscribe, support. It's your girl Mika, and I'm out. Peace.